Some viewers may find the following video disturbing. Viewer discretion is advised.
Hey everyone, welcome back to Board Games Unlocked, and Brad and I are doing yet another ranking of Marvel Champions Heroes. This is the third? I think this is the third one, because we've done, this will be the third hero ranking. We've done villains. So that means there have been, what is that, over 30? Over 30 heroes?
Or 28.
Because we've done 10 each time. I feel like. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31.
31, okay.
Yep.
Okay.
32, 33, 34, 35.
Where are those from?
These are Adam Warlock Spectre.
Oh,
Because I don't
gotcha.
have, and from the other two.
Gotcha.
So 35 heroes.
Okay, so I'm probably thinking about villains. I think there's 28
There,
villains.
yeah, it's not a whole lot.
Yeah.
Yes, so this one is going to be after the most wanted, Galaxy's Most Wanted.
Yeah, good, 'cause it would have been, yeah.
So, kind of what we're going to do here is we're going to go off of so we're doing 10. The two that are not included in this are from the Sinister Six one, Ghost Spider, and Miles Morales Spider-Man. Because I haven't played those yet. So, he has. And so we have 10 that we're going to be doing. And first thing I got to say is, in my opinion, all of these 10... I didn't actually put the rankings next to these like I normally do, but they're at least 7s or higher. Like I liked I liked pretty much every single one of these.
They're solid, yeah.
So
for sure.
And I have these. I have the decks just next to me just for reference, so I wanted to pull any specific card.
My 10 and 9 would probably be lower.
Lower?
'Cause they're not really good with solo. Like solo only. They're
interesting. Okay, because so that's another thing is I can't remember if we ever made these very specific distinctions with the other rankings, but I have only played these as solo.
Okay.
And I play them at 1. Like I don't two-hand.
Right.
So it's like, okay, pick one, pick whatever villain to fight
I
against.
play multiple. I usually will play two-handed,
With two?
but I'll play them solo too.
Gotcha.
To see just how they work.
And I also mine are based off just the precons. So yours are deck construction.
Yeah, I play the pre-con when I first get the pack.
Right.
Just to see if I can learn their flavor. Mm-hmm. And then I'm like, okay, I think this one may be more justice or more protection. Then I go off of that.
Okay.
So,
Awesome. So let's go ahead and get started. So yeah, like I said, we're going to go off where mine's at, then Brad will tell me where he put it in his 10.
yes.
So, my number 10, once again, they'd probably start at like 7s, like probably the first 4, probably 10 to 7 would be 7s, then maybe 6 to 4 would be 8s, and then the rest are 9s. Mm-hmm. Is where 3 to 1 would probably have put at a 9. None of these are 10 out of 10s for me.
I have one that
You have
I would
one?
probably put pretty close to a 10.
Okay. It's probably my number 10. So my number 10 is the one that everyone thought was an April Fool's joke, and ended up not actually being one because it was announced on April Fool's, and that is Spider-Ham. Yep. I was like, is that his name? Is that what
You want me to tell you where I put them right now?
Yeah.
4.
4? Ugh.
I thought he was a joke, and I was surprised that it went that high because it's just goofy.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, but the play of it is just fun.
And
just fun.
he's extremely solid as a hero. One thing that I've done on all my reviews for these is I always try to do best case scenario out of their like. So it's like if you had this perfect setup, which would never happen in a game, but it's like if you did, what's their max damage that I can do on the fly? And I mean, he can get really, really wild. What solidified him kind of at the bottom is that actual goofiness. It's kind of one of those where it's like you're playing a serious game, and then now it's like do quelf shit, like where you have to like actually like physically go or stuff like that. I guess you don't have to, but whenever I was playing him, I was like, I'm gonna get into it, and I was like, this is dumb. Like I don't want to be doing this.
Yeah, he's just so freaking strong. Like,
yeah,
he's like this one's one. Okay, so he's up here because he's good solo. He's strong enough to handle himself solo.
Oh yeah.
Playing two-handed solo, he's even better because he likes to take damage.
Yeah.
So he takes damage and lets my other one get rolling. And then also that the having that, and it's been a while, the wild resources.
Yeah.
Isn't it the thing where he can carry him over?
His actual card.
yeah, like
so
where
his
you can carry
ability
over
is
wild-
each toon counter can be spent as if it were a wild
Right. So I mean,
resource,
he can.
And anytime he takes damage, he gets a toon
Exactly.
counter.
So he wants to take damage to build those up, and then he can just blast out a bunch of shit on the
Yeah.
turn. So I mean, he's such a good utility character, especially playing two-handed solo, because you can just go to town.
Yeah,
you
and I
know?
will say they did show some restraint. Like, not every single one of his cards is
Right,
like,
exactly.
whip your dick out and slap it on the table, or do some,
big piece of ham.
yeah, just some weird stuff. It's like very few, but it's kind of, that's why it's like, well, if you're not gonna, they didn't lean into it, but it's like either lean into it, or don't do it at all. Because then you're playing a bunch of cards and you're like, oh god, I have to stick my tongue out at the villain, and I just find that stuff kind of weird.
It's kind of like the Daredevil deck, or not Daredevil, the Deadpool deck that came out for Marvel Legendary. How it was so goofy with the way the
Yeah.
cards were and stuff. It
And
kind of
it's
took
just so disjointed from
Yeah.
everything else. But yeah, I mean, he has a lot of really solid ones, like being able to, like he can hit super hard. I remember because he was at Gen Con whenever I picked him up, and the guy that I was buying him from was like, he's so broken, and I was like,
pretty powerful.
I mean, he's strong. I don't think he's any more broken than, Captain Marvel or something
Right.
like that. Like, there's definitely characters that hit harder, but you're right. You can just bank a bunch of wilds and just like, okay, I have all these 5-cost cards in my hand.
Right.
So
Well, and if I'm not playing him solo, like one hero, I have to play some sort of a Spider-Man character with him just to go with the whole Spider-Verse.
and I brought that up in my review.
you know.
Yeah, you're right. It's super cool. I mean, Marvel Champions does go up to 4. Theoretically, there's no reason why you can't play 5 or 6. And I mean, that's your whole night.
Right.
Because the villain has, 600 health. But you could have, Spider-Ham, Ghost Spider, Miles Morales.
I usually do Miles Morales with him. when
Yeah,
I
regular
play too.
Spider-Man. There's also
Yeah.
they have almost every single Spider-Man.
Yeah, Spider-Woman.
Spider-Woman, regular. So 2 versions, Peter Parker and then Miles Morales. So I think that's cool. And again, it's not like in the past ones that were at the bottom, they were ones I would actively avoid. I
Right.
would still play him.
Oh,
He's
yeah.
like a still
Yeah.
solid 7 out of 10. But in this running list, he's at the bottom.
Right.
Number 9, I expect to be pretty low. This one is, I would either imagine, is going to be 9 or 10 for you, and that is Spectrum. You're like, dude, she's my number 1. She's my favorite.
My Spectrum for me was 5.
5.
right in the
That's
middle.
actually very interesting. So you're playing her right now in our Mad Titan Shadow.
Mm-hmm.
I'm actually going to let you take it because I thought you did not like her.
Well, I didn't until the last time we played those 2 scenarios, and
Oh,
it finally
okay.
clicked for me.
You're like, oh.
No, it did, because I was finally sitting there and I was like, you know what? There's those power swings that you can get, and it's a moment, like a timing. There's a timing issue, a timing mechanic with this, that if you
Yeah.
can time it right
Ouch.
with the right cards, it's like you can flip and do something.
Yeah.
So it's like, I finally learned that when we were doing the last scenario
Yeah,
or 2.
against Thanos.
Yeah,
actually.
and I was like, oh, it was like a light bulb. And I was like, yes, this is how
Yeah.
she goes. And then deck building for her has been interesting as well.
That's true.
Because
Yeah.
I've been able to focus on, leaning into, like, I'll really lean into one of her phases a lot more.
I guess he would.
That way you can kind of.
That's why I
Yeah.
think she's so low on me, is because out of all the pre-cons, I actually think she's the weakest, because they
Yes.
tried to balance her phases, and she
Right.
has 3.
Right.
And because they tried to multitask, they don't do any one of them particularly well.
The Gamma, I believe, is the one that's the attack one. The
think
attack power. So that's
so.
the one I power up.
Sure.
So the other ones are more like dink, 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 dink. And
Yeah.
then
Well, that's the thing, is
You know?
like, and she would probably benefit the best of being with multiple people because of that. If you're
Right.
gonna, okay, well, I can do one big hit, and that's kind of my entire build, so I need someone who can help with thwart, or
Right.
I can need someone who can help with minions, or whatever it is. So in the games that we've done for Mad Titan Shadow, I've played her by myself, but I've seen her played by you and my friend Josh, and both of you were kind of like almost fumbling, just trying to figure it out. And I was myself, and I'm like, why? So she's probably the most complex out of these 10. I would say she's the most complex. There's one that is probably second,
Yeah.
but and I think she's complex just because you're trying to figure out how to use her phases.
Right.
But then once you do, then you're like, oh, so she is supposed to be built where you can react. It's like, oh, we're not doing that great on thwart. Okay, let me go into this phase so I can start helping with that. Okay, we got that under control. Now we need to start doing damage. So let me swap into that. But then if both sides, like without a Warlock or someone, if both sides are doing bad, then she's also kind of doing bad. I don't know.
Yeah, and like I said, she's this high because of the deck building possibilities. Like the pre-con that we play,
Yeah.
if that's all I had played of her,
Yeah.
then it would probably be more like an 8
Yeah, I
or
see.
something like that. But being able, the way I've built with for her has turned her into a threat where she
Okay.
can be played solo,
Okay.
like by herself.
Sure.
But yeah, the pre-con it has to be. I'd have to have Adam Warlock or whatever,
Right.
Just to go
To
along
be like,
with it.
hey, can you do anything? Because there's so many times where it's like, hey, like, okay, my hand's not great here. I can't really do a whole lot. Can you? No. Fuck. It's like it's a lot of setup with her, but
Yeah.
I think she's a little higher than Spider-Ham because the setup pays off, and that feels good.
Right.
Versus some of the other simpler characters where it's just like, oh, 8 damage, oh, 10 damage, one card lets me do it. So, a little lower for me, but again, like I said, she'd be a 7 out of 10 still. All right, my number 8. Which was actually, I was very surprised that he was this low, because I still really like him, but I haven't played him as much as I ought to, and that is Vision.
Your number 8 is
My number 8's Vision.
okay. Me too.
Really? You're like, I don't have him on
Well,
my...
no. I was like, I'm getting confused because we're going off your numbers, and I'm like,
Oh, yeah.
So
Yeah.
Vision's my 8 as well.
So Vision is kind of like almost a simpler Spectrum, a little bit. Like he has 2 phases, his dense and his intangible phase. And I find this actually pretty fascinating, just because in his dense phase he gets +2 attack and +2 defense, but then he has like mass form and permanent and stuff. So like there's other cards that correspond to that. And then he has intangible, where he cannot attack or defend, but he reduces damage he takes by 2. So, kind of like what you were saying with Spectrum, in the sense that there's a time where you have to be smart about which form you go into, just like your alter ego in hero form.
I'll say with his deck, I love the ally. One of my favorite cards in his deck is Vivian, the ally.
Let me find it.
Um,
Is she? Oh, yep, right here.
Yeah,
Yep.
yeah.
Intangible gives you +2 thwart. Dense gives you +2 attack.
yeah, I mean she's a very good ally for because she doesn't cost us.
It only costs 2.
Right, so
Yep.
she's a super good ally to just keep out there.
Yeah.
And that's, to me, that's almost the highlight of his deck, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
And is it? I don't know, because I've never used her anywhere else. Is she one of his cards?
Yes.
Okay. I
Yeah,
was gonna say
that's-
that's why I never used her anywhere else. That's why.
Yeah,
But,
and what's also really cool is that there are very specific cards that you can only play in a certain form, and I find him very thematic. Like one of his cards I was just looking at is Just Passing Through. You
Yeah.
can only play if you're intangible, because you can actually go through stuff, and you can remove threat from a scheme, ignoring Crisis and
Oh yeah,
Patrol.
so that makes sense.
Yeah, so you
Yeah.
can just bypass certain things, which not a lot of people can do. Like those very. There's only 3 icons in the whole game. They've never added more. Were like they're almost always like a, yep, this is it.
Right.
Like if there's a crisis out here, you have to deal with it, and he's one of the very few that can actually bypass it. So, and then there's others where he can do it if he's in dense, like the super dense strike. You deal 5 damage to an enemy, gains piercing.
Yeah.
Also, it's like, oh man, God, it's because sometimes it sucks when you're like, okay, I have this one mega attack, I can do 15 damage, and he got toughness.
Right.
Fuck. it's like, okay, well, I'm Vision. I'm going to go into dense form and bypass that toughness and fuck him up.
I wonder how. I've never played with Vision and Scarlet Witch to see how they play as a tandem.
Well, what you do is you set them up and then you win.
Yeah.
You're like, who's Thanos? He lost. So then you just back it
Scarlet
up.
Witch is still my favorite hero of the entire run, just because I love the chaos.
That's right. She was my number 2 in the last ranking
Yeah.
because Doctor Strange edged her out. But you know me, I like side decks.
Yeah. Yeah,
Like
you
with
do.
Aeon's End, it's like, oh, side deck
Yes.
character. So yeah, that would be my Vision number 8.
Yep, me too.
Number 7. Let's see, where is he? Number 7's also a little wacky, but he was a better, because I think at the very low of the last one was where is he? Was Venom. This is a better version of that, and that's War Machine.
That's my 7 also.
Oh, really?
Yep.
War Machine, I thought, played very, very cool. I thought that because he gets ammo counters, and that was one of the few uses of like those tokens of players getting multiple tokens that felt correct, with him. Because I was like, man, how are they going to make him different from Iron Man,
Right.
or from anyone else who uses a bunch of guns, or Rocket Raccoon,
Right.
stuff like that. Yeah, and I totally felt like he played different than those two.
Because he has those cards that cost both things. Don't you have to pay ammunition?
So like full
to-
auto, for example,
Right.
is it costs 2 resources and you remove 4 ammo.
Right,
And
so-
choose an enemy, deal 8 damage that gains overkill.
I really had fun playing him, but the reason he is down this low is because of that. As cool as the counters are,
yeah.
there's two barriers to play some of the cards that like, I may have all the strength in the world, but I may not have, I don't have the
You don't
ammo
have any
counters.
ammo counters.
Or I may have all the ammo but not enough cards.
Yeah.
It's like there's 2 things you need to play the card instead of just 1.
Yeah.
And that was the only reason this is for, because I love playing him,
Mm-hmm.
but that was probably the reason he fell down, just because there's 2 things you have to keep track of.
Yeah,
play cards.
that's actually very true. And that's also the reason why he's not as high. And he has ways of generating ammo. I mean, just going into his hero form gives him 5 ammo
Right.
counters. Let's see, where is it? So, and a lot of his stuff you just have to spend ammo to be able to do anything. But like his alter ego action, munitions bunker, gives him 2 ammo, and then like you put 2 ammo counters on it, and then whenever you go into his hero, then you can get more. So you could have 7. But unlike, I feel like you have a little more agency with him, or at least if you're spending all of his tokens, you're doing something really big
Right.
with it. Unlike like Black Panther, where you just have to hope you draw, certain cards to do
Yeah.
anything.
Yeah.
You don't have to hope you really draw anything. You're guaranteed to at least
Right.
swap into and have ammo
Oh
counters.
yeah, and like I said, again, fun as hell to play.
Yeah.
The only nick on him was just how you had to make sure you had both things.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
That was it.
Yeah,
That was,
for sure.
He's good.
Because
for sure.
other characters because Rocket, his guns have ammo,
Mm-hmm.
and then they just kind of go away. Hawkeye with his arrows, they're cards in his
Yeah.
deck, and once your decks run out, you're like, oh, out of arrows, I suck. At least if you're like, oh, out of ammo, okay, I'm gonna need to go into alter ego so that I can pop back into hero state to get. At least you can get them, versus other characters that are kind of similar, and still, again, after 30 heroes, I've never once played one that I was like, oh, this is like exactly like this other character.
Oh yeah. They've been.
So there's
We're getting ready to do X-Men though,
about
so
to
we'll
get
see.
into X-Men. Yep. Okay, so that was number 7, War Machine. That would probably be my last 7. I feel like he's 7 pushing 8.
Yeah.
Then my number 6 is the weirdest one that I don't know shit about, and that is Spider.
Spider.
it's Spider.
It's Spider. That's my 6 also.
Are you sure?
Yep.
That's so funny.
So,
All right, I'll eat.
So 8 7 and 6.
I think I think she has probably the clunkiest.
It
thing.
is very
There is
clunky, yeah.
no reason to have 2 separate cards
No.
because they don't do anything with it. Like
Right.
it's like,
I just like how the freedom for deck building with her was really cool.
Yeah.
Being able to do the different aspects, and she has good resource generation, good at solid upgrades.
she definitely relies on her techs.
Yeah, the tech upgrade stuff.
The
Yeah.
tech upgrades, like, and because she has, and I mean, but she's one of those where if you get a bunch of techs out, she has so many ways of just
yes.
refreshing them and getting her refreshed to just be like, oh, let's do it all over again.
Yeah, I get that Iron Man feel from.
That's why
from
I'm actually
her.
surprised she's at 6 for you, because I was thinking, oh, he's really gonna like her because you kind of build her suit out.
Yeah, but I mean, yeah,
Yeah, there's
My-
other characters.
I like my top 3 for sure. We already
Yeah.
talked about Spider-Ham at 4 and Spectrum at 5.
Oh yeah,
You know, I mean, it's I really enjoy
Mm-hmm.
playing. The deck building for her is a blast. I think there's
I could see
one
that.
there's one other one on here that the deck building is the reason why this person is so high.
oh okay.
But yeah, I like having a lot of fun with that one. You know, I get that because Iron Man used to be my
Oh, your favorite.
my favorite.
Like your
It's
go-to
probably
favorite.
still
yeah.
probably now. Well, before this list, before we started doing this, it was probably my number 2 or 3 out of all the
Okay.
ones prior. Just because I just love
Yeah.
playing Justice Iron Man. But
Yeah. I don't remember. I know Iron Man was relatively lower for me because I like when I can have control over the things
Mm-hmm.
that I'm doing, and for him it's like, okay guys, can you protect me so I
right,
can get my
right.
suit built?
Once you get that fucking suit built, man,
Yeah.
it's just like, bam,
And I kind of
bam,
feel like
bam,
all
bam.
the Iron Mans that have come out since then have just done what he does
Yeah.
but better.
Well, and then but he's also has gotten a lot of cool. Some of the new cards that have come out for
Oh,
other heroes,
yeah.
the whole in the deck building,
Yeah,
really help with him too.
I can see that.
You know,
Yeah, so
But yeah,
there's
there is one in here that I-
like, because what's her HP is, oh that's right, 14, which is high.
Yeah.
But her hand size is ass.
yeah.
Like it's so dog shit. Like 4 and 3, that blew my mind.
Yeah, and maybe that's why, because I didn't make that as a note, but that's probably another reason why I had it a little bit lower than some of
It's
the
like
others. 'cause-
it's super like limiting, but kind of like Iron Man in the sense that, oh, I don't need a high hand limit because I have all these tech upgrades.
yeah, once you
out.
get everything out, then it's just like,
Then you're golden.
Mm-hmm.
But I think she's a little bit more interesting. Like she's not as simple as Iron Man. Whenever he gets his suit, she can do a lot of really cool combos. She's definitely one where it's like, hey, hold out a little bit, then I can get all these techs, and then okay, now I can answer thwart. Now I can answer damage.
plus solo for her is like in order for me to get the best out of her, I need to be playing two-handed solo.
That makes sense.
You know, because of the build. Anytime I play an
I think that's
Iron
also
Man
why she
or-
just has such high hit points.
Yeah.
Like at 14, that it's like
she can soak some when she's setting up.
exactly. And I mean, when she jumped to her, I mean, that's the weird part about her is the fact that you have the suit, but like, so it's like you have just her, but then whenever you go into hero form, you have to like pop her onto the suit. It just makes no sense. Like,
They started getting too cute with some of the hero.
I mean, I'll
games.
take that over the foldable.
I just cut mine in half.
Oh, you did?
Yeah.
I haven't done that
I
yet.
cut mine in half, put it in 2 sleeves, and just have 2 cards. So
That's definitely the way to
Yeah.
do it. But I'll still take that over the. At least you don't have to cut her in
Right,
half to be
right.
able to get it to work. All right. So yeah, that was my number 6, Spider. She would probably be 8. 8 out of 10.
and that's where our similarities differentiate for a couple numbers. Because
That's
I've
true.
already said my 4 and 5.
That is very true. My number 5, right in the middle, but still very, very good. This one is pretty much. This one is kind of where I would start saying they start getting a little bit OP, and that's Nova.
Nova's my number 9.
Really,
Yeah.
wild resources, man.
Oh, I know. But I just don't like her. I hate the solo only.
Oh, really?
That character, like it, I need to have 2.
Interesting.
I could not. All the building, I've tried every aspect and different cards, and I cannot get true solo to work with that one very well.
That's fascinating because
And maybe-
because he actually him, and there might be one other person, but I think his deck was the one where I realized, oh, he doesn't have strength,
Yeah, those
intelligence, those
the great
those,
cards.
those
The
those
basics.
dual resource cards. Because I was like, oh, you gotta be kidding me! But he just hits like he's fast.
Yeah.
Hits super hard. Can just generate. We're talking about Spider-Ham generating wild resources. Like you don't even have to bank them to make him solid.
Yeah, and I like him in two-handed for sure. Like
Okay.
but it's just for some reason I just don't. And
That's
maybe it hasn't clicked.
fascinating.
Maybe it
Yeah.
hasn't clicked for me, like the deal. But
Yeah,
but,
wow. Because who did I fight with him? Because I don't know shit about Nova. Isn't he getting
Yeah.
his own show?
I think
he getting a
so.
show?
He's part of
Nova
the
and Iron. Oh, Young Avengers, right?
yeah.
Yeah.
so.
So I mean, just the thing after you use one of Nova's basic powers, you ready his helmet, and then I believe his helmet lets you ready. What does the helmet do? Let me find it real quick. A supernova helmet. Oh yeah, you generate a wild resource. So you can generate a wild resource, have him attack or thwart, and then generate another wild resource. And then he has connection to the world mind. No idea what that actually means, but it doesn't count towards your hand size as well as giving you wild resources.
It's just one of those. I mean, again, all 10 of these are good this time.
That's true.
I mean.
Yeah, so I mean, at a 9, what I put
With
him as
with it not working.
I guess that would be a 6 for you, right? Did you say the lower 10 and 9s would be 6 out of 10?
Oh, I don't know if I ever really said a number.
Oh, okay. I thought you said
mean-
maybe it was.
I said my number 1 was going to be close to a 10.
Gotcha.
Like possibly a 10, but I don't know. Like it's just a solo thing.
Yeah.
Like my number 10, I didn't like for solo either, and we haven't gotten to that one
Oh,
yet.
okay.
So-
I'm really trying to think. Who did I fight against with Nova last? Ultron? Did I fight him against Ultron? No, I think I did Rhino. I might have just wiped it, like beat Rhino's ass.
I kept playing against the Green Goblin
Oh
and
yeah,
stuff like that and everything, but
I can see Green Goblin being kind of difficult with really anyone solo. He's a pretty rough.
well, I used to use Rhino for all my solos,
Then-
and that's what I do for the precons.
Oh really?
But then I go to.
I try to make it thematic. My number 1, I made it thematic, and that was a lot of fun. But yeah, Nova is just kind of like, out of all these, I'd probably say he's the simplest.
Oh yeah, he's easy.
I mean, when
to
you
go.
have
He's
when
just-
you have just wild resources
Yeah.
all over the place,
yeah.
then you can just do whatever you want. Okay, so yeah, he would be an 8 out of 10 for me. My number 4 is the one that we're currently playing in the Marvel, whatever it's called, Mad Titan Shadow, and that is Adam Warlock. Number 2.
My number 2.
Adam Warlock is the only one that I have been able to find in precons that has an infinite loop.
Yeah.
He is theoretically, you have to get his spirit world in your opening hand almost, but theoretically he can never die.
Yeah.
Like,
This is the one that I put up high because of the deck building.
oh,
'Cause
okay.
deck building for him
Oh my God,
fun.
yeah.
Just having all the aspect stuff you can
Yep.
mess with and everything. It's like, phew.
Can he have all aspects?
It's
that- Where is he? Oh, I don't have his deck
it's
with
it
me.
is it is totally just you can do
Yeah.
stuff. You can make him. He's definitely better. I think the best way to play with him is I think Justice.
Really?
was my favorite. Justice is my favorite aspect for most things. That's the first thing I try when I do
What's your
stuff.
least favorite? Probably
Aspect is leadership.
I was gonna say leadership. Leadership theoretically sounds cool because it's kind of built around allies.
Yeah, I just never put allies.
They're
up
so
'cause
hard. They're so expensive.
They are.
Some characters obviously are built for them.
It's like a lot of people are like, go that way, go at ally heavy, get the whatever that one thing is that lets. There's the one neutral card that every deck pretty much has.
Lets you
that,
have more than
that lets you pays one less to get an ally
Oh,
out.
yeah.
And I'm just like, yeah, but that costs like 4 or 5 to get out. And I'm like, early in the
Yeah.
game, I'm just like,
It's probably early game. Once you have that, then you're golden. Because
Yeah.
and I get why they're so expensive. Because typically it's just another thing
Oh, yeah.
that helps, and they soak all damage. It's like, oh, how much is he doing to me? 15? Yeah, nah. This ally with 1 health left is gonna absorb it all.
Yeah. So, but no, Justice just has a lot of hard hitting cards to add in,
Yeah.
and
But Adam Warlock, he's a little bit like, I expected him to be higher than number 4, but I think because he does kind of rely on, you have to top deck a lot of stuff to make him be like, boy, I really hope I do a lot of damage, and I discarded all of the same aspects, so that's 1 damage. So, but he's kind of in that same Scarlet Witch chaotic, oh man, what's it gonna do this time?
exactly.
But he's very centered around like getting rid of his deck. Like you're milling yourself. And but each time you do that, you can put a thing on I want to say Soul World or whatever.
Yeah,
And,
I think that's what it's called. Like,
Something like that. And then it's like, oh, okay, now I'm going to discard, I'm going to exhaust this, get rid of that counter, and heal all the way up to full.
right.
And it's like, okay, I'm just going to keep doing this. But I will say, I have played a game. I don't know if it was with you. It might have been against whenever we were doing the tower defense one. If you don't get Soul World, boy, are you struggling with him, because then you don't want to mill as much, and you're like,
Yeah, no,
Where the
that happened
fuck
to
is
one
it?
of ours because we almost got.
we almost lost, and I was
Trashed,
like,
yeah.
where is it? It's at the bottom. It's at the bottom. How cool.
You truly do use. I was looking it up just to make sure because I usually I don't use all 3 or all 4
aspects.
but yeah, you can go all in on them. It's
That's what they thought.
yeah. So I'm just
Because
like
he wants to. He gets more powerful if you discard multiple,
Yeah.
like differentiating
yeah.
ones.
But so I don't use I think I don't do leadership. I think I go
I see.
The
Like
other 3.
justice and
yeah, and
protection and aggression.
mostly aggression and justice. But
Yeah.
but
It's I guess neutral cards would also count in that differentiating type. But I guess it's very interesting because Adam Warlock from like the comics, you expect him to be busted. I find him to be hardest to be like to do like that one single point of high ending damage.
Yeah.
He's just definitely
Yeah.
the ones that's just gonna you can't kill me. As long as I have someone around to keep threat in control, we're gonna win, and that's kind of how we beat Thanos.
Yeah.
It was like you
Well,
were
'cause
able
I
to
died,
keep
remember?
you died, but you did enough to keep threat down. So then I
Yeah.
just was like, I'm not losing because of health. So he will only lose by threat. So I find that extremely fascinating. Like I think that's just super cool. And I know when you deck construct, you can get like infinite combos and all that. I know Quicksilver
Right.
can be like can do like
Gosh, yeah.
8,000 damage by building a certain way. But in the precon, I think he's super fascinating. So that's my number 4.
all right.
Okay, number 3. This has to be your number 1. There's no way. I thought like my number 3, 2, and 1 are kind of interchangeable. This is where they're 9s. My number 3 is Ironheart.
That'd be my number 1.
Okay. Yeah. I was like, man, it has to be. I'll be very surprised if it's not. Yeah, that three level hero thing is
It's
so
quick
cool.
to get her powered up. Like you can do it fairly quick and get her up to her 3rd form
Yeah, that's
reasonably
true.
quick. I mean, I'm not saying like boom, boom, boom.
Right,
but,
right. But not as much like she's quicker to get to her version 3 than Iron Man is to get his whole suit built.
And when she's fully amped up, she's just fucking
She just
knocking shit out.
wrecks. Yeah, like I mean, it's so cool. Like because it's like version 1. Version 1 looks like Iron Man's first suit.
Right.
Thwart 1, attack 2, defense 3. Then it goes 2, 2, 3, and then Ironheart 3, 2, 3. But then she just actually but she still does stuff with progress counters.
Right.
Where it's
and
like
it's just nuts. Like solo for her is awesome.
Yeah.
By herself. I mean.
Yeah.
She can.
because she has. I mean, her hand size is insane in both alter ego and hero form. She just has so many ways to be able to, because unlike some of the other ones where they have to take time to build up, she can just she's still kind of like a keep them off me a little bit. I need progress counters. She has so many ways of getting them herself.
Yeah.
Like again, unlike some of the other ones, in the past, where you had to hope you drew into something, she has just control. You have ways to get progress counters. I think it's every time she deals damage.
Yes, I believe so. Yes.
Or destroys a minion or something like that, she gets a progress counter.
Yeah.
And there's so many quick ways where you're just like, oh, let me do this and then do this, and that's 2 progress counters. Okay, I'm already into version 2.
Yeah, it's interesting. And playing her like that, what I do with her when I do the 2-handed is I run Iron Heart and Iron Man because then she can kind of handle stuff.
Yeah.
And taking out the minions and do that stuff while Iron Man's kind of fuddy-duddying around.
Yeah,
build this.
He's like, okay, this lady's showing me up here.
Yeah, but then if you can handle out where she's skill or level 3 and you have a kitted out Iron Man, it's just like
Again,
it's
and
that-
I won. We won. Who is
Yeah.
that? Oh, Ronan? No, we won. That's not true.
Still haven't beat that fucker.
Have you tried getting good?
I can beat anybody else but him.
He's so hard. I've only beaten him the one time, and I'm not even sure it was like a legitimate win. We probably forgot like one key thing, and it was like, oh no, we should have lost. But ever since then, I fought him multiple times after that. Not even close.
Yeah.
It's like, why is he so hard? But yeah, I mean, I don't know why I keep putting him up, because like the Ironheart stuff, she I mean, yeah, right here, like just Photon Beam, 4 damage and place a progress counter, 2 if it defeats an enemy. So you just start popping minions out and pumping up to a different version.
Yep.
Sector Scan is reduced cost based off of her version number, and then you can look at the top card of the encounter deck at any time. There's actually not a whole lot of stuff like that lets you scry like what's coming up. I mean, hell, Stroke of Genius, you spend this card, place 1 progress counter on your identity, and draw a card. One of my favorite things that any deck can do is give you card draw. Because my theory, I take it from Magic, if you're drawing, you're winning. And so not a lot of cards do that. If you that don't have a lot of card draw, it's like, I'm not doing well. So, yeah, she was very, very, like, I could have put her at 2. But my 1 and 2, I just had so much fun playing. So
But one of those
one of
would
those
be
is
my
your
10.
number 10. I'm very curious as to who it's going to be. So let's go to number 2.
I know who your number 1 is.
I know who your number 10 is because you said that she sucks solo. My number 2 is Valkyrie.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
No, my number 3 is Valkyrie.
Oh, interesting.
I
Oh my
had a
god.
change of heart.
Huh?
I had a change of heart on Valkyrie.
Okay.
After playing her more and doing different deck building and stuff.
Okay.
Because she's actually really good solo after I do some deck building.
She is kind of I mean,
She's a minion slayer.
yep. Yeah, but
She's
she
a better minion slayer than Thor is. Almost.
Almost.
I mean,
Thor
you know, like-
Thor can wipe multiple minions. She aces like 1.
Right.
She's kind of like where Thor's like the machine gun, she's like the sharpshooter, where it's like she's definitely, because she has it's right here. She has her death glow. When attached enemy is defeated, set this card aside, and then Valkyrie defeated enemy, ready her. And one of my favorite combos in this game is when you can have heroes who can constantly be ready. That's why Quicksilver is so fun, because it's like, oh, I'm gonna do all this stuff and then ready him, and I'm gonna do all this stuff again and ready him, and that's kind of her play. So she kind of has that. Whatever, is it a axe? No, it's a Death Goes a spear.
Okay.
I think it's a spear. At least what she's
She
holding.
always usually carries a sword, but I don't know what.
Maybe this is a sword. I don't know. She's holding a spear in the picture, but then
Right.
so the enemy's holding a sword. So.
Aggression is her
think it's
ace in the hole. Like that's the aspect that if you deck build at all, if you go aggression with her, that's just just perfect.
I mean, that's kind of her.
And
That's her aspect that the game comes.
Yeah.
The precon comes
and
with.
as good as she is solo, well, because there's a bunch more aggression cards out there that even go better with her that
Oh,
are
sure.
out there in the field.
Yeah.
You know? But as good as she is solo, she's even better multiplayer.
Yeah,
Too, because
I can see that.
especially against somebody that's building up. Because
true.
if you're sitting there building up, she's out there just whacking
Yeah.
minions and keeping stuff.
Like they're nothing.
right.
Yeah.
So, I mean, she's just an excellent...
I know for a fact I played her against Ultron, because then it was just like, oh, drone,
Yeah.
just like spearing
Right,
drones
right.
down, and you're just like constantly just like wiping them. I mean, yeah, she has to like have at the 7 damage to an enemy if it has death, so she can like oh, there's a minion here with 1 health. Okay, now it gains overkill. Yeah, like where was it? Yeah, Shield Maiden when the enemy with Deathglow attacks. Declare Valkyrie the defender without exhausting her, and she gets +2 defense for the attack. That's super dope. Because there's, again, not a whole lot of heroes that are like bullet sponges. Her, at least with that very particular card, the best one is, of course, Groot. Groot's like, that dealt no damage.
Group protection. He's this stuff.
Yeah. But Valkyrie, I had a blast. So it's like, it's obviously, she makes sense to be similar to Thor, but again, radically different in playstyle. Yeah, Thor is very big on destroying minions, because he can just, like, tank and have Mjolnir just ping across a bunch of minions, which is very good. I found Thor to be lackluster solo. In multiplayer, there's a bunch more minions out, and he's just, like, pinging them, and she's just kind of that way, but is also a little bit more, heavy hitting on one particular minion. So, yeah, and again, she's a 9 out of 10, up in number 2. So this is very funny, because my number 1 is your number 10.
And it's just solo play.
Is it because you suck with her?
Nah, I just don't care to play her. She just doesn't... I mean, she's not bad. Again, you know, it's your 10. You'd play your 10 still. I'd play this 10
yeah,
still.
That's true.
It's not that I don't like it. It's just...
So my number 1 is Nebula. What's your number?
My number 10 is Nebula.
She
should have stayed a bad person now.
Well, actually, the first time I played her was against Nebula.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh man, this feels just like in the movie when they fought. Well, I guess they didn't really fight against one another, but I thought she was an awesome villain. Mm-hmm. And so when they announced her as a hero, I was like, oh, how is that going to work? Short answer, just like the villain. Mm-hmm. Like, she just has so many techniques. What is her main ability? That's right. After you play a technique, you get to draw 2 cards. So, like I said, if you're drawing, you're winning. And the fact that you're going to be almost always playing techniques, and those kind of those are essentially your upgrades. I just think that those are super fascinating, because there's not... They remind me a lot of, like, the buffs that some villains get. Mm-hmm. So, if you can just draw cards and consistently play techniques, you can get almost an endless combo with her, which feels very thematic with, like, the martial arts train that she gets. So yeah. So why was she your number 10?
It's just the solo. I didn't really ever get a lot out of her playing solo, even though I could see where it was. It's just...
Gotcha.
You know, to me, it's just the... You know, I like some of those other heroes. I could get into them with the theme of it and stuff, and this one I just didn't. I'm not a big Nebula person, so then I was playing it and I was like, this is cool, you know. But I kind of put her. I know she's much better than this character I'm getting ready to say, so don't backhand me. But to me, she feels a lot like a Black Panther.
Oh, gotcha.
You know, like, I mean, to me, she's still good. She's a lot better than Black Panther.
Yeah, let me go ahead and to disagree with that, because that's very, very wrong. At least she can do all her techniques and doesn't need a very specific card to pop it all
that's why
off.
I said they're not exact, but
well, I see where you're coming from. It's like you lay it all out,
right.
And then Black Panther is like, oh, my vibranium stuff. Then I go in order.
Right.
You lay out her techniques, and then they do stuff, and then they have a special on top of that.
Right.
I thought she felt a lot more closer to Gamora. Which is funny. I believe in my last ranking, Gamora was at the top.
Yep, I think so too.
But again, both of those played radically different. Where Gamora did a lot of like stuff where it's like, oh, if you attack, you thwart. If you thwart, you attack. Just that kind of constant cycle. Nebula felt in a similar vein because they're sisters, so it's like they got the feel of them right, but they play completely different. And I thought it was extremely thematic to have her fight herself, and it's like, oh my god, you know, because you see similar techniques between them both. So yeah, I mean, she's a 9 out of 10. I don't think I'd put them... None of these were like quite 10 out of 10s, like Gamora was a 10 out of 10.
Ironheart was right
Was-
there.
was
for
right
me.
up there.
I mean, I might as well say she is, just because, you know.
Yeah. They are killing it, like with these hero packs. I don't even remember who's been announced.
Well, so right now that Cyclops and Phoenix are
Okay.
going to be the ones shipped
Okay.
next with the Mutant Genesis box.
Mm-hmm.
They're going to be coming because I already got the pre-shipment notifications for all that.
Oh yeah,
The
same.
Mutant Genesis, those 2 heroes. They've announced Wolverine.
Okay. Did they ever announce Nightcrawler?
no.
No, I don't know why I keep saying.
I think it's going to. I think they did the one of those shadow pictures. And they haven't
Oh.
like showed the pack yet.
I see. Okay.
I think he's coming in the cycle.
Okay.
But yeah, it's so cycle. So in the Mutant Genesis box, we have Shadowcat and Colossus, and then we have Cyclops and Phoenix.
Did you say Shadowcat?
I think that's who it is.
Kitty
isn't
Pryde?
it?
You mean?
Yeah. Well,
Oh.
I think it's Shadowcat's the character
Oh.
name. Is I think what's on the
Oh, okay.
box. But anyway, so those 2, and then Cyclops was the other one here, and I don't know who was coming out with Cyclops. I don't know who they've said yet.
They said Phoenix.
Never mind. Wolverine.
Oh.
'Cause
Okay.
usually they release them 2 at a time, so I don't know who the other one is because Wolverine was the newest one announced. And
Gotcha.
They haven't said who
Yeah.
the other one is
you
going
gotta,
to be
you gotta
yet.
do Wolverine.
Wolverine will be interesting. Phoenix is going to be an interesting one.
Phoenix. If they're
Because-
doing Phoenix Force.
Because I don't know if they're going to go Dark Phoenix yet, or if they're going to go, because there's 2 versions of that. If she's going to start out, if she's going to be Jean Grey Phoenix, or if she's going to be Phoenix Dark Phoenix.
I would imagine they would do Jean Grey Phoenix
Probably.
and probably have Dark Phoenix because isn't Dark Phoenix a villain? Probably
Most
in
of the time.
in the in the X-Men.
She might even be in the Mutant Genesis.
That's what I was
as-
gonna
as
say.
yeah, possibly, I guess.
Because obviously Magneto's there, so
I really haven't done much like searching. I don't
I'm
really
just
look
kind of
for-
I'm just getting them in,
Yeah.
and really what I'm needing is I need them
another one
to
of those.
huh?
I need another one of those.
It's this one's
so my
getting
2 are full.
mine are almost borderline sleeved, and I use the I'm getting the Fantasy Flight like the thick blue orange sleeves, but I need them to make the orange sleeves because they're sold out everywhere.
Yeah.
And I need those because the blue ones are in stock, but yet for some reason the orange ones are not. So
I just use clear ones.
yeah, I remember you saying that. I was like, yeah, but mine have the blue and orange back. You're like, yes, so do mine. And I'm like, oh yeah, I guess they do. But yeah, so that's our ranking on these heroes. I would imagine we could probably, after the next Mutant Genesis, do another villain one.
Yeah, because there's been
There's the 5 from the. Oh,
there's
you're
there's a
right.
scenario pack that's on pre-order.
Right.
It's another. I don't know who it is.
We would have
But-
actually we'd probably do another villain one now because we would have the Mad Titan Shadow and then the Sinister Six,
Yep.
and then I think in that would be Red Hood.
Red Hood was what it was.
You're
came
right.
out.
Yep.
And there's another pre-order scenario.
Another scenario one, and then the Mutant Genesis.
That's a lot of
Wow.
heroes. There's
That's a
5
lot of
per
villains.
box.
That's
There's
just
5 per big box, right?
Yes.
So
So
you
we can
got-
already do another ranking.
Yeah.
That would be 10 villains. God damn, yeah.
We got to play Sinister Six first before.
I know. We'll get there, but yeah. In the meantime, that's our ranking for these heroes. I think eventually, once Fantasy Flight announces that they're done making it, that we can actually do like a tier list and put them all
gosh.
in there. But yeah, so let us know what you think of these heroes in the comments below. Other than that, like, comment, share, and subscribe, and have a wonderful whatever time of day it is for you. Hey everyone, thank you for watching, and I really hope that you enjoyed the video. If you would like to see more of my content, go ahead and click that subscribe button and the bell to be notified whenever I upload any new content. If you feel like supporting the channel, you can go ahead and click that Patreon link to be taken to my Patreon, and any help is truly appreciated. Other than that, stick around for any other run-throughs or reviews or cool top 10s or whatever I feel like putting on. Other than that, like, comment, share, and subscribe, and have a wonderful whatever time of day it is for you.